What methodologies do I believe are essential for successful Agile coaching and why? Oh, this is easy. None. There we go. You don't need methodologies. Methodologies, by their very nature, are complete. They're telling you what to do and how to do it. The role of an Agile coach, the role of Scrum Masters, the role of everybody in the Agile world is to take what works, not what the book says. We don't use methodologies, we use frameworks, we use tools, we use techniques. Okay? And an Agile coach, to be successful, needs to be well versed in many of these things. If we look at just the frameworks, if you only know Scrum, everything's going to look like a possible Scrum problem. That's not good because not everything is. You're going to need to learn other frameworks. It might be Kanban, it might be DSDM, it might be XP, it might be SAFe, it might be LESS, it might be FDD, it could be one of myriad things that could be better. It is probably some combination of all of those. And this is the trick. Agile coaches, when they look at frameworks, look at them as tool sets, as pick and mix. Okay? What we want to do is work out what works best here. We all have favorites and we all have biases. So we might start in a particular place. I know that given free reign, when I work with a brand new team to the world of Agile, I'm more likely to start with Scrum because I believe, and my experience says, it's a good place to start. Would I always choose it blindly? No. There are times when I've used Kanban, there are times when I've used extreme programming, there's times when I've dug back into the archive and dug up some old approaches that have fitted better in this context. But what I am going to do always is take these frameworks and use bits and pieces of them as they make sense, experimenting with that team, with that organization, seeing what works now and what could work in the future, what isn't working and why isn't it working. We're constantly learning and changing approaches. So just in the frameworks, you're going to need to learn a lot of stuff. I always recommend get yourselves out there, reading things, reading books, reading case studies, getting on courses, talking to people who are creating these frameworks, who are using these frameworks, so that when you need to, you have a wealth of knowledge to pull upon to craft what makes sense in this instance. And we can do the same thing with all the tools and the techniques. I get very often asked, what's my favorite backlog management tool? And if you've ever had a duller question, please let me know. But I don't have one because I don't care. There are loads of them and they all have pros and cons. Use the one that works for you. We have it around development environments, we have it around everything. We do not live in a world of best practice. Best practice belongs in that simple domain, that obvious, the clear, where cause and effect is apparent, where we've already worked through, we know how to do it, we know what the problem is, we know how to solve it. There's probably checklists in your life if you work there, and that's fine. But that's not our problem space. The Agile world plays in the complex space. It's a world where we don't know. We don't know what the problem is. We have some ideas, but we're going to have to get feedback on those ideas to learn more about the space. We don't know how to solve it yet either because nobody ever has. Not with these technologies and these people in this domain. So we're going to have to learn about that. We're going to have to experiment. We don't have best practice. We do have good practices from the complicated domain, things that make sense to us, that have stood the test of time. Awesome. They're good, not best, because there might be better. We have options. We can do many different things. We have to invent some things because they are truly in the complex domain entirely. As an Agile coach, you need lots of tools in your toolbox. You need frameworks, you need techniques, you need tools, you need methods, you need skill sets, you need whole disciplines, at least awarenesses of, so you can dig deeper at the right times. But across all of this, what you need to have is an understanding and acceptance of, I don't know. You have to work it out. You have to be willing and able to say that to whoever asks you without losing confidence. You know that you can work out the answer because you have this toolbox, because you have all your experiences. But you're going to have to take time. I don't know is probably the thing you have to have the best. I don't know how this is going to work. I think my experience says it's going to work out, but I can't guarantee it because it's never been done here before. We operate in that complex space. As Agile coaches, we need to arm ourselves with myriad tools and techniques. We need to be ready for what turns up and willing to try out new things to discover what will work here.